Good evening and welcome to the June 8th meeting of the Attleboro School Committee. I will call us to order at 6:30 p.m. This is your notice that this meeting is being electronically recorded. Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. We have the first of two very crowded rooms, which is exciting for us. So we are beginning tonight's meeting with a recognition of our student artists. This is a reminder that this meeting is being electronically recorded. Okay,
Thank you.
just making sure. Thank you, Mr. Larson. And so to kick off the student artwork recognition, I will turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Lori Regan.
Thank you, Chairman Geddes. So tonight we're honored to have so many students, families, and teachers with us to recognize them for their artistic creativity and skill. Their individual pieces were selected to be in this room for the final art installation for this year. So congratulations to all of you. It's quite an honor. This room is continually used by not only educators from across the district, but also community members, and it certainly helps to make this room a very welcoming space. So thank you so much for sharing your art with us. I also want to make sure that I thank all of the art teachers who help to inspire our students every single day with their creativity and passion for learning. So thank you to all the art teachers in the room. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Danielle Lemieux. She is our K-12 art director for the district.
Thank you, Lori. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of our students, our art educators and families, I want to extend our thanks again to the school committee and the administration for your continued support of the arts in the schools. Providing this special opportunity to showcase our students' artwork in this conference room is really special, and it means a lot. An artistic achievement that's valued within the community, which is wonderful. We are grateful for your commitment to providing students the opportunity to shine both inside and outside of the classroom. So thank you so much, and we look forward to doing it again and again and again. Thank you again.
Absolutely. And thank you to all of the artists. Thank you to all of you artists for the incredible work that we get to view for the rest of the school year, over the summer, and into the start of next year. We do have certificates available for all of you, and we will be calling you up by school. Each committee member has certificates by school. So as you hear your name, I'll mention which committee member has the certificates for that school. You can meet them at the end of the table for your certificates. And I know not everyone was able to be here tonight, but we will make sure that everybody's name is called, and I will apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. So I will start with Attleboro High School. Mr. Domenici has certificates for Lily Gaudette, Simone Meixler, Lila Morrison, and Nyan Nyo. Next, we have Brennan Middle School with Mr. Larson, Annalise Gudiel Godoy, Caitlin Chamberlain, Christian Gachette, and Bailey Barfield Sims. From Coelho Middle School, Mr. Stores has the certificates for Justin Paz Diaz, Emily Yao, Zina Gonheim, Harper Phelps, and Cecilia Santiago. For Wamsutta Middle School, Ms. Johnson has certificates for Jillian Sullivan, Harrison Chandler, Violet Mock, and Rachel Weichel. It sounds like I'll confirm now, our Hill Roberts artists did not make it tonight, correct?
One of them was.
Oh, awesome. Ms. Nelson, Mr. Poor can hand those over for Lucas Calderon and Olivia Halcomb.
They're both here.
While you're up, Mr. Poor, we'll go ahead and take care of Studley Elementary as well. Amelia Dalton and Bailey Maya. From Hyman Fine, Ms. Porto has certificates for Morgan Gomes and Luciano Alves. For Thatcher Elementary School, Mr. Frappier has certificates for Nathan Levine and Lillian Gustafson. And for Willett Elementary School, Mr. Bennett has certificates for Colton Ballantyne, Sarah Nolan, and Lily Cornetta. So as Mr. Bennett hands out those last certificates, I will invite the committee to provide any comment this time.
This is for the art in the back of the room, right?
Yeah. Mr. Larson?
I just, as the chairman had said, thank you so much for sharing your work with us. Your talent obviously is amazing, and we really appreciate it. It really makes the room. So thank you so much.
Doris?
Sure. Very often you hear STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, but that has turned into STEAM, and it's added in art, and that's how important art is. So thank you for sharing this with us for the next for as long as we're going to have it, and great job, and keep up your passion with art.
Mr. Frappier?
I have to say the artwork hanging up in this room and at the old high school as well is one of my favorite things about meeting in this room, and throughout the year that we get to see it, I try to make sure I look at each one of them for at least 2 or 3 minutes when we're waiting for the meetings to start. But great work, everyone.
So I know this started with a note of appreciation for the committee supporting arts in the schools. First of all, thank you to the art educators for inspiring the artwork that we get to celebrate, but also to the students and families, thank you for giving us art to support and celebrate. It's hard not to support such incredible work. So thank you all so much for coming and celebrating with us. If anyone did get here a couple of minutes late and wants to quickly take a picture with their artwork, on the way out, please feel free to do so. In the meantime, the committee is going to go into a brief recess while the artwork certificate recipients leave the room and we bring in our Willett Elementary students for their spotlight. Congratulations again. Thank you all very much. We are in recess. I will call the Attleboro School Committee back to order at 6:45. Next on our agenda is a spotlight from Willett Elementary School, and for that, I will again kick it over to Assistant Superintendent Regan.
Thank you, Chairman Geddes. So tonight marks our final school spotlight presentation for the 2025-2026 school year. And when planning actually all of the presentations for the year, both Principal Caton and Assistant Principal Brierly said, we have to be at the end of the year because we're doing a culminating event. We're collaborating with, each of the grade levels is collaborating with each other throughout the entire year, and we want to make sure we showcase that. And so this was the last possible moment that we could schedule the presentation, and so I am honored to be able to share this with you tonight, and would like to hand it over to Principal Caton right now.
Good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. This is, as Mrs. Regan just pointed out, this is a culmination of 2 years' worth of work. And our synergy team that consists of our assistant principal, Mrs. Brierly, some of our teachers, Mrs. Jervis, Mrs. Gattoni, Mrs. Riley, and Mrs. Schiller have worked tirelessly to make this happen. And we are proud and pleased to have 11 students here to showcase and shine some of the things that we've done as it connects to our school improvement plan. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Brierly. She can outline what we're doing tonight and showcase the highlights that we have for you this evening.
Good evening. I'm Mrs. Brierly, and I'm also proud to be here with all of the students that we have today. This year, we launched Journey with the Giants, a year-long whale-themed initiative that was designed to strengthen school culture. We wanted to have cross-grade collaboration, and the project grew out of our school improvement goal. We knew we wanted purposeful opportunities for our younger students to be able to work with our older students, and we wanted our staff to be able to collaborate with other staff that they may not have had a chance to collaborate with before. So to help bring this vision to life, we created a staff leadership team called Synergy, and they planned and coordinated the cross-grade collaboration. These experiences brought our school community together all the way from the beginning of the school year right up until a few weeks ago when we had our culminating event, the Whale-mobile. You'll see that in a few minutes. They were authentic opportunities for the students to develop the 4 pillars of the portrait of a graduate. And throughout the year, it really has inspired all of our students. They were so happy to be together with the other students that they met throughout the year. And there is a stronger sense of belonging in our school because of it. To give you a glimpse of this journey, we'd like to begin with a short video. I don't know if we want to. You want to take that? So here we go. We'd like to begin with a short video. And following the video, our student MC will take over and share more about the impact that this experience has had on our community.
Oh, hi there! Did you know that on January 16th, our whole school is coming together for an exciting collaboration event called Save the Pod?
Students from different grade levels will work as a team to solve challenges and help their pod succeed.
During Save the Pod, students will rotate through hands-on stations inspired by real-world whale problems.
Just like a whale pod relies on teamwork, our students will rely on collaboration and creative thinking.
It goes longer, but we'll stop it there, just so you guys can get an idea of our staff buy-in. They were all pretty pumped to be in this whale video. I was like, I'm gonna put whales behind you, okay? They were like, sure, whatever you say. Oh, all right.
Good evening. My name is Caleb Donahue. This year, Willett students have participated in Journey of the Giants, a Willett-themed project that helped us learn how to collaborate, communicate, innovate, and balance. I'd like to have my fellow students share some experience with you tonight. Prepare to be amazed. I'd like to invite Logan and Max to share. Logan, what did you like about working with a student in a different grade?
I liked it because we worked on solving hard problems and finishing challenges together.
Max, what is something you learned from your partner or buddy during these whale activities?
There's a ton of things I did not know about whales. I liked working with my partner. We both researched that there's two different kinds of whales, the baleen whales and the toothed whales. The baleen whales have bristles instead of teeth. We both thought that was really cool.
Thank you, Logan and Max. Next, I'd like to ask Dylan and Emery to share. Dylan, can you explain what echolocation is and how whales use it?
Echolocation is when whales make noise to alert other whales in a pod. They use it to find food and stay safe.
Emery, please show us how the echolocation game works and maybe invite one of our school committees to try it.
The echolocation game is played with two people. One person has a clicker and the other faces away from the cups. The clicker person clicks near the cup with the fish, and the person facing away has to guess which cup the fish is underneath. Miss Riley, would you like to come up and ask do it with me?
Do you want to maybe do it here? Whatever you. Thank you so much.
You guys forgot the clickers in the cup earlier, so we're just gonna have Miss Schiller go grab it.
Oh, hurry, we got the cups!
Could have forgot it. Okay. I'm gonna have these under one of them.
I'm going to say this one.
Correct.
Let's thank Dylan and Emery. Next, I'd like to invite Nimit and Ruth to come forward. Nimit, what problem were you trying to solve during the Innovate activity?
The problem I was trying to solve is to take trash out of the ocean to help whales. We use many materials like tape, cereal boxes, and many more.
Ruth, tell us about the prototype or invention you created to help whales in the ocean.
So the problem we were trying to solve is that trash in the ocean could affect whales and fish in the ocean. So here I made is a whale, and it's made out of trash. But here how this works is this is like kind of like a brush, and what you do is I have some trash here. Is you take the trash and you put it in the mouth, and then on the other side you push it in. And then once you're done, on here on the bottom, you would unroll all this like pieces here. And here would come where the trash is being held. And after you're done, you can grab your trash and empty it. And then after that, you are all finished. And you can put it back together and you are all set.
Let's give Nimit and Ruth a round of applause, everybody. Now I'd like to ask Ava and Elsie to step forward. Ava, can you tell us about mindfulness, what mindfulness and meditation is?
We were laying down on the rug with the lights off, listening to calming music.
Elsie, what did you learn about choices or positive, negative acts on whales, oceans, or other people?
I learned that littering has a negative effect on whales because a type of fish could eat trash and die out, and then whales could die out if they ate that type of fish.
Thank you, Ava and Elsie. Finally, last but not least, I'd like to invite Hunter and Krista to come forward. Hunter, what was your favorite part of the Whale-mobile experience?
My favorite part of the Whale-mobile experience was learning about whales with my 4th grade buddies. It made me feel happy and special.
Krista, what connection did you make between the scientist presentation and the whale activities we did at school?
The connection that I made is that we learned about a bunch of stuff about whales. One of the things we learned about was baleen. And when we went to the Whale-mobile and the scientist presentation, we got to hold baleen.
Thank you, Hunter and Krista. Please join me in the
How about a round of applause for Kayla? I know you guys just heard a lot about what we did, but sometimes it's easier to see what it looked like. So we have one more video for you to kind of see what the days looked like. This happened multiple days over the year, so we've had all the teachers taking pictures and videos as we went, and then you might see some of these faces in there as well. So we have one more little video for you guys before we...
And we want to thank our PTO and the Feinstein Foundation for helping to fund our activities.
Collaborating with first graders to come up with a solution for pollution. It was fun because I got to work with people I didn't know.
I love the hula hoop one because I like how the first graders helped me go over it, and I like meeting new people.
You could tell there was instant engagement in the activities. The older kids loved being able to be the role models, and the younger kids were really looking up to and learning from their peers.
We communicated with our answers and then we discussed about it and about our answers, and then it made one big answer so we could make an answer. I liked collaborating with first graders to decode the word. It was echolocation. We put one fish under one of those cups and we made a clicking sound near the cup, and the other person needs to guess where it is. It's a plastic, so it gets shredded up into pieces, and then it goes in this, and then this was Hassan's idea. He made the camera thing, and then it was Kira's idea to make it look all pretty. Yes, it was that. And then it was McKenna's idea to put this cardboard thing.
Oh, I love the teamwork. Awesome.
This cross-grade collaboration was such a valuable experience for our students to be able to work with different grade levels. While students may see each other in the hallway or on the bus, this allowed them to really get to know each other in a fun and educational way.
I think we should keep doing them because they're really fun, and we're also learning about new things about the ocean and the water and why we should keep the ocean clean. So working together with other people, so now we know how to work together with other people better. so it's helping us with a lot of different things.
Like hold it, scoop it up.
Wow. I love that.
We teamwork and we took turns, and we didn't get mad at each other. We felt each other's feelings, and we didn't get mad at them or something. We just talked.
I really like that we could be with persons of kindergarten. It's my first time in third grade being with persons of kindergarten. I really enjoyed all the time that we had together.
I really enjoy going inside the whale-mobile. I love to see the different parts of the whale. I actually got to hold a piece of baleen. It was pretty hairy, but quite interesting.
What I liked was the whale-mobile because we could go in it.
Have fun.
I look forward to the days when we had to work with our whale buddies, and it was just really fun.
That culminates what we've done. I'm very proud of the students, and we're here to answer any questions you have for us.
Any questions or comments from the committee? Mr. Larson?
First of all, you guys did a great job. You know, coming in here and making a presentation in front of us at your age is amazing. So, looks like you had a great time doing this project together, and look forward to what you're going to bring us in the future. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Bennett?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. The thing that I really love to see is groups across grades collaborate. I remember being, you may not believe this, but I remember being in first grade. And the fourth graders were so big and so scary when you're walking down the hall and you see fourth graders you don't know. And because of this sort of intergrade collaboration, now when you see a bunch of fourth graders, there's going to be someone there that you know if you're a little kid. And that is the greatest thing, to have friends in bigger grades, to feel like you're all part of the same school and you all get along and you all take care of each other. And that means the world to me, as a survivor of elementary school myself, to see that there's a way for you guys to work together. And also that whale mobile looked like the coolest thing ever. I wish I had one. I'd drive it around town. Thank you, guys.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? So as was said, great job to all of you. Thank you all so much. It's exciting to see the 4 pillars of a portrait of a graduate being implemented so early, and you all getting to experience what all of that learning is so early. Caleb, great job being the MC. I will also say, my daughter participated in a similar program when she was in one of our elementary schools, and she actually just said this weekend that she's going to be in the same school as the buddy she had, and so she's so excited to reconnect with that one person if they go to the same school. But this isn't, to Mr. Bennett's point, this isn't just a relationship for this year. This is a relationship that can carry through your entire time in the Attleboro school, so that's very exciting. Are you guys okay to just hang tight right where you are for a couple minutes while we take care of a couple pieces of business?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. So while you're sitting there, the next item on our agenda is to go into executive session. The Attleboro School Committee will convene an executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, 2, and 3 to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting might have a detrimental effect. Collective bargaining may also be conducted. The committee will return to open session following the executive session. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. So what we are going to do is I'm going to conduct a vote with the committee, and then we're going to leave the room. The reason I wanted you all to stay there is while we go to executive session, families, if you would like to come to the middle of the square to get photos of your students from where they presented, please feel free to take your time doing so. Any other discussion related to the motion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote. I will start with Mr. Bennett.
Yes.
Ms. Porto?
Yes.
Mr. Storrs?
Yes.
Mr. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Geddes, yes. Mr. Domenici?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Frappier?
Yes.
Mr. Poor?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously, and we will go into executive session. Congratulations again, guys. I will call this meeting of the school committee back to order at 7:31 PM. And I will reiterate that this meeting is being electronically recorded. Next item on the agenda is our superintendent's report, and for that, I will turn it over to Superintendent Sawyer.
Thank you, Chairman. Since we last met, the district did conduct the listening session that we had promoted, and was anticipating to get some important feedback as we prepare for the changes to the regulations on restraint and seclusion. I first wanted to thank the people that had attended. We had about, I believe, 9 people join us that evening. Their feedback was important, and can't say enough that we needed people to come and trust us enough to come and participate in that and to provide that feedback. And the night wouldn't have worked without that. So I wanted to take a moment to extend our appreciation for them taking their time out of their busy lives to help us to learn more about how we need to get better. And I wanted to start by saying that, in listening on that evening, I have on many occasions acknowledged that in a place as big and complicated as the Attleboro Public Schools, I don't feign to have the perspective that we're perfect. There are a lot of things that we get wrong regularly, and are always looking to improve and to get better and to do a better job. And in hearing the conversations that we had that evening, it wasn't a surprise. We've known this, but I think it is important on occasions in a moment like this to take a moment and acknowledge that this is a difficult thing that we're dealing with, one that I don't think schools are particularly well designed to grapple with, but one that we have to get right and one that we have to contend with. And it's pretty clear from the discussions that we had that we have work to do, and we recognize that. But certainly want to acknowledge that this is a work in progress and one that there is work to be done on and things that we can do better. And the feedback we received, I think, will help us to do that better job. In listening that evening, there were a couple key words that came up consistently across the room. One was accuracy. Another was accountability. Clarity was another word that we heard several times. Certainly transparency and consistency. Those were some of the key phrases that we heard multiple people in separate conversations bringing up. And I don't want to oversimplify all the nuances and the details of why those words come up, but I will say that, for me, as we left that night and, debriefed about it later, I would summarize that the key takeaway is that as a district, we have a communication problem. This is obviously a very difficult situation, and we need to do better in how we communicate with families when we are dealing with acts of restraint specifically, but certainly as part of the regulations, we're also talking about timeout and seclusion. But however you summarize it, it's pretty clear that where this all starts is that the professionals who are there because of how talented and dedicated they are to students, but are trained in teaching and learning, we need to support them so that they're also adequately good at communicating to families and having these situations not break down the relationship between families and schools, which we have seen in some cases and need to fix and do better on. So that was a key takeaway on how we can improve those things, and we look forward to that work. I wanted to let everyone know that we are already making some revisions to the procedure manual as a result of that feedback and our desire to improve these things, and that all of this will be dealt with in much greater detail on June 22nd, when Mr. Heel will be coming to do a presentation. We want to share with the committee not only where we are in terms of our preparations for next year, but also give a little bit of perspective on all the work that we have been doing, because this is an issue that emerged within the last, say, 10 years, and the district, like most districts, was not well prepared to grapple with it. But we've done a lot of work And we think that it's important that we also take some time to just share some of the things that we are doing, because, as insiders, we sometimes lose perspective on the fact that not everybody knows all the various things that are going on. So we want to spend a little bit of time talking about that, but also the preparations we're making and sort of give a final word on where we are as a district in relation to this big change that's coming at us in August. So,
Any questions or comments related to the listening session or the manual and everything else? I will support your assessment. Walking around and listening to the small group discussions, I think the district has come a long way in communication on the larger scale, letting families know about events, about closures, about all of the things that impact the entire school community. But as I said at the end of last year, when it comes to the partnerships between families and schools, especially around special education, that individual family communication needs to improve, and is really the basis of those partnerships for successful students. Mr. Storrs?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I just want to say, when the listening session was going on, myself and a couple of others, we were in contract negotiations, so we weren't able to make it down in time. I did want to attend. But, I'm thankful for those who, from the community that were able to attend and weigh in, and I know that that is being used as part of our manual, and I do look forward to seeing that manual as we discussed, when it's ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Storrs. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Domenici?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I was there, and it was really important feedback to get, and we appreciate it. I also think that this document is going to have to be a living document, right? So we are taking our swing here to make improvements, but we know that as things change, so do we. And so just to put it out there that I think this is something that we know we will always try to look at and continuously improve, and getting that feedback occasionally is helpful. So, I hope it's the first of, many for what we have to do.
Thank you, Mr. Domenici. Any other questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you. On a related note, I wanted to update the committee on our timeout rooms, the actual spaces in the building. There has been a question that's come up a couple times, and we've been working on this, and I really feel that I can address it in this moment, is around locks on doors in relation to these spaces. So to be very clear, there is regulation language that says that these rooms may not be locked. And that's true, and to my knowledge, that hasn't happened, and if people have reason to believe that that's something that should be reported, because that would be an obvious violation. It is not against the rules that these rooms have locks on them. And this is relevant to us because none of our buildings were built with these rooms for these purposes. And so they're all rooms that have been converted from some other purpose to how they're being used in this case. And that would explain why many of them do have locks on them, even if they're not being used. So this poses a real question about what's best practice and how should we handle all of this. I think the first thing I want to comment on is that next year, under the new regulations, we have to separate out timeout from seclusion. And, what we're calling timeout, for the last couple of years is now clearly going to be seclusion under the new regulations. I think it's really important to note that in this moment, as we stand here in June of a year, in which the regulations take place in a few short months, there is not a single student in which the district has taken the necessary steps to get the pre-authorization required to use seclusion as an acceptable strategy in our schools. Now, that can change, right? That could change tomorrow. A family in a school could decide that they want to pursue that and take the steps, and then we would be able to do that. But it is not permitted without taking those pre-steps. And there's, again, not a single student that we have done that with. So as we sit here today, there will be no seclusion in the district unless that changes. So there's no reason for us to have rooms set up in a school in which you can't use seclusion as an acceptable strategy. So the places where that is currently the case, we're going to be making changes because there's no reason to have a space that's dedicated to that if you can't legally use it. Now, I do want to say that if in fact that changes, and it can, so I'm not promising that it won't, but if that were to change, what we've decided is that in a space that we are setting up ahead of time for the use of seclusion, we are going to forget locks, because this whole item is about locks. Forget locks. We're going to take the doors off that space, right? So if we have a seclusion space in this district that is dedicated for that purpose because it is allowed under the regulations, because we've taken the necessary steps, one of those steps that we're going to take is to remove the door from that space and remove that as an issue entirely, because we don't want to have to deal with that. So taking this very seriously and, wanted to get do our due diligence and make sure that we were taking the right steps, and I'm happy to make that clear in this moment. As for what we will be calling timeout space for next year, I want to remind us all that for it to legally be timeout, it has to be voluntary. The student has to voluntarily go to that space, and if while they're there, they don't wish to be there anymore, they have to be allowed to leave. In talking it through with our administrators, our professionals who work with these behavioral situations, there was a lot of feeling that many of these students cherish the privacy that comes with the door, the ability to collect themselves, not in full view of other people, especially when they're self-aware that they are trying to gather their composure and want the space to do that. And so for that reason, we will be leaving the doors on our timeout spaces, because that should not create a problem for us, because no one should be there against their will. So we're going to keep the doors on. Now, where we have these spaces that have doors that have locks from their previous uses, if there's no security concern, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a second, we will be this summer removing all the locks from any of the spaces that will be used for timeout purposes next year. One complicating factor is that we have some buildings, and I'm thinking specifically of our open schools, and I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to undermine our security planning, but in our open schools in particular, we have very few areas where we can lock doors to protect students from an intruder if we're in a lockdown. And so if we have a situation in which a space needs to double as a secure location for the safety of that building, we can't remove that lock. And so we have to take other steps to ensure a lock cannot be deployed inappropriately in the setting that we're talking about, which would be timeout. So we got a little bit to work through there, and that's a thing that I think families have every right to expect buildings to be able to explain how that all works and ensure them that that we're going to be following the regulations. But I know there have been some questions about the locks, and I just wanted to address that straight on, and hopefully that those answers will satisfy the concerns around that.
Does anybody have any questions or concerns? But before we do, to Mr. Sawyer's point, I'm just going to ask that any commentary related to emergency school safety be delicately worded so as to not violate any security and safety planning of any particular building, because those discussions have to happen in executive session. Mr. Bennett?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. I appreciate that. And I think those are positive steps. I did notice I wanted to say this because it's important that these things be consistent from school to school as much as possible, given the constraints that you've outlined. And when we had a infrastructure committee meeting at Studley as part of the tour, I did look at one of the rooms, and it had no lock. It had what used to be a lock on that door that no longer had the latch key in it. And from what I've heard, there are other rooms at other schools that still have vestigial locks that aren't operatable, during seclusion. So I would just suggest that whatever you do, whatever we end up doing, it be as consistent as possible from school to school. so that a parent can see the same thing is going on for their kids as going on for kids at other schools. And in addition, a small thing that might be helpful would be, and I don't want to pretend to micromanage or anything, but just a little placard, like adult height in the room, what is this room and what is it for? So if anyone's walking by and they see, hey, that looks like a locked room, why is that possible? Just a little bit of information so that it's obvious to people walking by or taking tours of the school or visiting their kid or whatever, that they see that this is a timeout room and this is the definition of timeout. The kid's always allowed to leave if he's here or whatnot. Just some additional upfront documentation that sort of helps the rooms be a little more self-explanatory. And again, thank you. I think this is.
Yeah, so to be clear, except where there is a security component that complicates the matter in any of the spaces that we will be using for timeout in any way. And to be honest, there's a range of applications of timeout spaces. It's not my place to, I'll let other people get more into the details on that. But in all of them, we will, to your point, universally across the district, unless there's that security concern, we'll be removing the locks this summer in anticipation of next year. So that will be taken care of in a way that is consistent across the district. As for labeling the spaces, there are some regulations around not labeling some spaces, so I'll have to dig into that one before I can really comment on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett.
You just want to simplify and make sure that I'm hearing, and it sounds like good steps are being taken. Timeout spaces will have no doors.
No, timeout spaces will have.
I'm sorry.
Seclusion. Seclusion spaces will not.
Seclusion spaces will have no doors, and then the timeout spaces, under normal circumstances, can only be used if parents have agreed to that use.
No, the timeouts require the students. It's voluntary for the student.
Then that's what I'm saying. So the timeout space is the one where they can leave at any time.
Yep.
No doors.
No. There's a door because they want to. Some students want the door to be shut.
Okay.
So they can have some privacy. The point is that the door being shut isn't a problem because the minute they say that they're ready to leave, we can't keep them.
Okay, now I understand. So I was hearing that's why I started saying I thought the timeout space, they can come and go, meaning no door, while the seclusion space, there might still be a door. But that's not the case. What you're saying is the opposite of that. Timeout, door, no lock.
In most cases, no lock, yep.
And then seclusion, no door.
Seclusion will have no doors, although at this time, we don't even have any of those.
Understand.
For next year, planned.
Yes, understand. But okay, now I understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Storrs. Mr. Frappier?
Yes, so without going into detail, I understand we can't discuss any level of security when it comes to it. But the open school buildings, is there at least one room in each of those buildings that is not necessary for secure situations where we could have a lock not installed at all?
Can you ask that again?
Sure, so in the open schools, we discussed that some doors need locks to be a secure location in case of an emergency. Are there any rooms in those buildings that we can remove?
I'll say
the
it this
lock?
way, there's a real challenge in our open schools in which there are not enough lockable spaces to begin with. And so we can't sacrifice any if in fact any of them are involved in this discussion.
That answers my question, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frappier. Any other questions or comments? Thank you.
One last one.
Sorry, Mr. Storrs.
Will the open classroom concerns and how we're going to mitigate that be included within the manual?
I'm not sure, I'll have to look at whether there's a manual implication.
Generally, obviously not the details of.
I don't think so. I think really where this lives and dies goes back to the point I've already made. We've got to do a better job communicating with families. And so, I think our families have a right to know what the spaces we're using look like and, why they're the way they are, and have, there are questions to be had there, and there needs to be better communication about that. So if in fact we're in a school that is affected by the security concerns, that it'll be on the staff in that building to help parents to understand what's going on there and what steps we're taking to make sure that there's not going to be a problem as a result of that.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll just say thank you to the administration for taking the time to, over the past year, to carefully think about the best way to approach the new regulations and the best way to update the buildings as needed. And that goes beyond for the community to know. That goes beyond the superintendent and the assistant superintendent. I know this includes feedback from building administrators, classroom educators, other central office administrators. So thank you to all of those involved for carefully considering these changes and taking these steps. And we'll look forward to hearing more details on June 22nd, and for families to have more information before the end of the school year, if I'm hearing correctly. Thank you.
All right, next one. I just wanted to inform the community, or remind the community is really what it should be, that under Mass General Law, Chapter 272, Section 99, Massachusetts is a two-party consent state, which means that Massachusetts has criminalized the secret recording of conversations. In fact, it's a felony to record people in conversation without, in both making them knowledgeable of the fact and getting their permission. This is important because it affects the rights, privacy rights of students, families, staff, and visitors, which are all affected by things that go on in our schools. And we've been having a range of implications of this. Most notably, I'm going to be asking the committee next year to consider going back to our electronic device policy because increasingly we have students coming to school wearing glasses that have the ability to record, and we're having problems in school. And so I think we're going to need to look at a policy around that. But just for the general public understanding, this is not just a student issue. It's for all of us. We have a responsibility to one another to not unknowingly record each other, and just wanted to make sure that the community was aware of that.
Thank you, Superintendent. Any questions or comments? I know there have been some instances this year of recordings happening in the schools that have made their way to social media, and that does create some significant legal concerns. So,
yes.
Thank you.
Next, I just wanted to inform the committee that the latest round of ATI graduation is this Wednesday at 5 o'clock in the cafeteria at Attleboro High School. So, I think we have 7 programs now that are producing our graduates for ATI. It's a great event, and wanted to make sure you were aware that that was happening.
I'm sorry, what time? 6 p.m.?
5 o'clock.
It's the day after tomorrow, Wednesday? That's this week?
In 2 days.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, and then our final order of business this evening, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Regan to talk to you a little bit about Student Day.
Thank you. So elementary students in the Attleboro Public Schools have currently exceed the time on learning requirement set by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, which that requirement is 900 hours, and our students, by attending school for 6 hours and 40 minutes a day, exceed that with 1,005 hours across 180 instructional days, and that's after excluding non-instructional time for lunch, recess, and transitions of about 55 minutes a day. Our current school day is from 8:45 to 3:25, which is 6 hours, as I mentioned before, and 40 minutes. What we found is that our elementary age students, especially those in K-2, are exhausted at the end of the day, and they find it difficult to remain focused and engage in learning. There's a growing body of research for elementary learners that supports the importance of balancing structured instruction with their ability to sustain focus and attention and cognitive effort, and that is typically done with a shorter day to support that sustained attention. Also, given the work that we engaged in through the strategic plan, we are asking teachers to collaboratively plan high-quality learning experiences to meet the needs of all of our learners. And an adjustment to the student day can provide more time for our classroom teachers and the service providers that support them during the school day to intentionally plan together. One of the things that we also acknowledge is that in Attleboro, currently we have the longest school day in our neighboring Massachusetts communities and even in our DART communities. Right now, we have there's only one district in the DART communities that has a longer day than us, with 6 hours and 30 minutes, with the proposed change in the time that I'll be sharing in a moment of 6 hours and 25 minutes. So, as you already know, we're currently in negotiations with the Attleboro Education Association and have a tentative agreement with them to implement a change starting in the 26-27 school year, pending their ratification. But we recognize that any change to the student day requires time for families to plan, and we wanted to make sure that we had a chance to talk to you about this evening, and then also time for that information to be shared with our families. So the proposed change for next year is adjusting the day by 15 minutes and reducing the end of the dismissal time. So the end of the day currently right now is at 3:25, and that would be now moving up to 3:10. The start time would remain the same at 8:45. So that would leave the school day to be 6 hours and 25 minutes for a total of 960 hours of structured learning time over the 180 days. And with that, we still remain well above the required learning time of 900 hours. This adjustment also impacts the Early Learning Center, so that would adjust their time by about 15 minutes. So they would start at 8:40, and the morning session would start at 8:40 and end at 11:10, and the afternoon session would start at 12:30 and end at 3. There were a couple necessary steps that we wanted to make sure that we took before or while engaging in this conversation. One is our communication with our community childcare providers. We've already spoken with the Abacus team as well as Robin's Children's Program, and they're aware that the change will be coming. We also recognize that the change, if approved by you this evening, would also need to be reflected in the elementary student handbook and also the Early Learning Center handbook, noting the change in the time. And we also, as I mentioned previously, we acknowledge that the change is also pending ratification of the AEA contract. That is tentatively scheduled for the last week of school, which is June 22nd. But we know that this change requires families to make some plans ahead of that. And we just ask for you to consider the approval for this evening, knowing that it's pending ratification, but the teacher day will be adjusted after the ratification, but we'll be approving the student day this evening. So wasn't sure if you had any questions related to that.
Before we get to questions, I'll actually, at this time, because we will need to make, to the Assistant Superintendent's point, 2 approvals will need to happen tonight. So first, I will entertain a motion to adjust the elementary school day starting with the 2026-2027 school year as proposed by the administration.
Moved.
Second.
Thank you. Again, this would be to adjust the full elementary school day to 8:45 a.m. to 3:10 p.m. And the ELC session times would be changed to 8:40 a.m. to 11:10 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. So with that, any questions? I saw Mr. Larson.
Yeah. What time does the middle school dismiss?
Yep.
Where I'm heading is the buses.
Yep, so there's a 50-minute window. So middle school ends currently at 2:20. And so there's a 50-minute window between the end of the middle school dismissal time and the end of the elementary dismissal. I did reach out to obviously Mr. Furtado, and he said that it was definitely doable, and also, as reported by the elementary principals, most of the buses were there by 3:10 or earlier most days.
Thank you.
On a related note, for middle school after-school activities, there's often a delay between the end of the activity and the buses getting there because of the return for elementary kids, for elementary drop-off at home. So this will tighten that a little bit. Mr. Storrs?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I got a couple. We talked about this at policy. I think I reported out around the last meeting. So the first one, like with the question that Mr. Larson just asked, the additional 15 minutes in the morning, because it's going for the elementary school, I'm sorry, so it's only in the afternoon. That won't affect the bus contract cost?
I don't believe so, because they were still transporting the 3 levels of students. I can double check with Mr. Furtado or
I
Mr.
just wanted- 'cause
Varela,
it's-
but I don't believe it does.
Okay.
Thank you for.
The finance director is confirming.
Okay, I'm good with that. I do want to be clear, like, we talked about it, that this is a reduction of 45 hours over the course of 180 days. But the fact that we are so far ahead of any other of our DARTs, as well as all our local districts, I can understand this. You know, we're currently 105 hours over the requirements, the state requirements, and we're, you know, more than 50 hours over most other districts, either in our area or in our DART districts. So doing this is still going to keep us above them for the most part. So I can appreciate that part. The only other part that I'm a little concerned about, I mean, we talked about it, is that this would create a little bit of a disparity, 15-minute-a-day disparity compared to what we have now from the elementary schools to the middle and the high school. And we know in the past, there have been concerns of this nature, of a disparity between the different elementary, middle, high school during union negotiation. Now, since they're the ones, as per our conversation, since they're the ones that actually brought this to us, I would hope that would never be the case. So because of that, this is something I think I could support. Thank you.
And to that point, you mentioned the 45 hours in reduced educational time. That's now 45 additional hours of planning and collaboration time, and I think that's especially critical as it relates to some of the planning, especially around sub-separate classrooms and collaboration with inclusive classrooms and things like that. So, Mr. Bennett?
Thank you. Yeah, it's important, a small benefit to this, and maybe partially even unintended, is that this doesn't mean a reduction in the length of the teacher day or the length in the day for paraprofessionals, right? So that produces a 15 minutes that happens to fall at the beginning of the day, where there's more opportunity for collaboration between paras and teachers, which is something we've heard from both groups, that they wish they had more time to communicate. So it's basically trading what amounts to, I thought a lot about this, because I was really skeptical when we discussed it at the subcommittee. And what this trades is basically 15 minutes of kind of dead time for tired elementary school kids at the end of the day for, in essence, a better experience for the teachers and paras when they arrive to work and have a little bit more time to get their heads on and get prepared for the day. So it's important that we remember this. This is not a reduction in amount of time that the teachers spend in the classrooms or the amount of time that the paras spend at the school. So that's all. Thank you.
I think someone could also say that it's a better experience for the students themselves because they're not being,
yes.
Mr. Domenici?
Actually, Mr. Bennett did an excellent job of stating what I wanted to say, so I'm good. Yeah.
Ms. Johnson?
The only thing I wanted to add to this, you've noted 2 of the community childcare providers that you've reached out to so far, but I'm sure there'll be additional communication. So we have partnerships with the YMCA and.
The YMCA currently doesn't do any aftercare for us.
Oh, they don't? Okay.
Right.
All right. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mr. Storrs?
Thank you. Again, the one point I forgot to mention before that we talked about was how this, of course, will affect parents, because, it's only 15 minutes, but, many are picking up their kids at the schools. But the other part is abacus, and I appreciate that you've already reached out to them. Will there be any additional cost to parents because of this 15 minutes.
I believe they're going to be keeping
Perfect. And there would be no additional cost then. All right, good, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Storrs. Any other questions or comments? All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve the change to the elementary school day as proposed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Because of that vote passing, or that vote passing unanimously, or that motion passing unanimously, I will now entertain a motion to update the elementary school handbook language as presented.
So moved.
Second.
As Mr. Storrs mentioned, the handbook language was proposed at the Policy and Personnel Subcommittee meeting back in May. It was provided to the committee in advance of the our May 18th meeting, but it was all handbook language. The motion to approve the handbook language that was proposed was exclusive of the elementary and ELC school days, because those were pending approval. Any questions or comments related to the handbook language based on this change? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you all very much.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Sawyer. At this time, before we move on to minutes, I will entertain a motion to amend the agenda to include a memorandum of agreement with the Attleboro Custodians Association.
Motion to amend, so move.
Thank you. So this is just to add the item that is coming out of executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And then I will entertain a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement with the Attleboro Custodians Association as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All right. This is, this has been ratified by the Custodians Association. It does have slight market and cost of living adjustments throughout the contract, but primarily language updates are related to housekeeping, leave and holiday observations to align with other collective bargaining agreements within the district. So does anybody have any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our May 18th, 2026 meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments, edits, updates? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is consent items. We have 8 items listed on the consent agenda. I will take all items as one motion unless anyone would like anything pulled out separately. Seeing none. A motion to amend the May 18th motion to accept check 1172 in the amount of $450 from Jersey Mike's Subs from the fundraiser for esports at the high school to read as motion to accept check number 1172 in the amount of $540 from Jersey Mike's Subs from the fundraiser for esports at Attleboro High School. Motion to accept a donation in the amount of $50 from East Wing Fund for Wingstop Restaurant Night to the class of 2026 at Attleboro High School. Motion to accept a donation in the amount of $207.06 from Bliss Restaurant to the 12 Plus program at Attleboro High School from the Restaurant Night fundraiser. Motion to accept a donation in the amount of $4,000 from the Feinstein Foundation as broken down in my memo from June 5th, 2026. Motion to accept a contractual obligation in the amount of $47.40 from Bay State Textiles to Hill Roberts Elementary School. Motion to accept a contractual obligation in the amount of $118.70 from Planet Aid as broken down in the check receipt dated May 18th, 2026. Motion to accept an anonymous donation in the amount of $300 to be used at the superintendent's discretion. and a motion to send to municipal council for approval prior year invoices in the amount of $9,550 to be paid from school department funds.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions, comments on any of the consent items? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next is updates from our subcommittees, and for that, I will we'll start with our Teaching and Learning Subcommittee from their May 26th, 2026 meeting. And for that, I will turn it over to Subcommittee Chair Frappier.
Thank you, Chairman Geddes. As was mentioned, we met on May 26th, and we had a few items that night. First, we went over the AHS, the Mathematics Curriculum Program Pilot Update, where we met with Kara Joyce, the K-12 Math and Science Director. The high school students, will be piloting two different programs, two different curriculums this fall after a substantial campaign to identify which ones we'd like to go with. House 3 and 4 will be piloting one program. House 1 and 2 will be piloting another program. And so almost all but 2 of the math teachers will be piloting this, and all the teachers will be trained. Stage 1 training starts in June 26th, and they will decide on the curriculum in spring of 2027. Each pilot will include a single unit that's up to 15 weeks. That's the longest math unit. We don't know exactly how long these will be. The last high school update to the mathematics curriculum was 10 years ago with illustrative math. And these programs would end up cost neutral. One would be a textbook up front versus a yearly workbook. It would average out to the same cost. The pilot and programs would be Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. Calc and Pre-Calc will not be changed at this time. And the same unit will be piloted for each. We'll be using the same assessment for judgment as that goes on. That was item number 1. Item number 2, we heard from Ms. Porto about the last ACE-PAC meeting of the year. They elected an executive board, but they also still have the treasurer position of open. So if you're interested, definitely check out the ACE-PAC website or Facebook page. And treasurer is a very important role to fill in any group in the community. And sorry, I'm just going down a little further. All right, and last but certainly not least, we wanted to give a shout out to Miss Shannon Vitek, the WAMSETA educator. She won an award from the Massachusetts VFW as the Social Studies Educator of the Year. Last year she won it for the local VFW, but this year it was statewide, which is a really big deal to have an educator that won that. So congrats to Miss Vitek on that award. And as was mentioned, there were no motions to bring out of committee.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Frappier. Next is an update from our Infrastructure and Facilities Subcommittee from their June 1st meeting. And for that, I will turn it over to Subcommittee Chair Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We met here on June 1st in the Zito room, along with the members of the subcommittee. Mark Furtado and Jason Parento were participating as usual. The first thing that we addressed is a request from the fire department, and this is not at this point a formal request on account of they have not yet been funded to do this project, but they wanted to give us a heads up that there is a communications blind spot in the city whereby where they have some difficulty with their radios, and the solution to that are to build these 100-foot towers. They need them because of the topology of Attleboro, with Ides Hill dominating the center of town, where the central communication tower is. So they're going to build one at the Briggs Corner Fire Station and one at Coella Middle School. They want to build a 100-foot tall communication tower. Now, for reference, there is an antenna on top of the structure at Coella School right now. The school and that antenna combined are 30 feet tall. So then when you go to Coella, you see that it's about 3 times, give or take, the height of that will be the height of the new tower. And it's going to require, I think, a 20 by 20 enclosure with a gate around it, and it's right by the front entrance at Coelho. My understanding, and the fire department was not at the subcommittee meeting, so we couldn't directly talk to them, but from what I got from Mr. Furtado, is that this is necessary. It's been on something that the fire department has needed for a long time, and is a necessary thing. And that particular location both at Coelho as opposed to, at one of the other fields in the area. There has to be at Coelho, and it has to be at that spot, because that is where the coverage will be picked up the best. So that's really all we have. I do have a diagram that was in the packet, if everybody saw it. It's kind of hard to make any sense of this diagram for someone like me, but it is right at the front, sort of from the street, the front right-hand corner of the school is where this would be. It will have no impact on the purpose of the school for education or learning or anything like that. It's just a radio tower. It may not be, it just is my opinion, it may not be the most visually appealing thing to put in front of a middle school, but any enhancement in the safety of the people of Attleboro, I think, in my opinion, also is worth doing. And my understanding is that if this proceeds to the point that they get some funding and some more logistics, they will be appearing in person to the school committee. Unknown to me is whether there will be an ask, whether this is something that requires school committee authorization or not. I really just don't know. But I think we have plenty of time to find that out before they, unless and until they come to us with a specific ask. Next, we moved on to our periodic evaluation of all of the high priority capital improvement projects that are under, are there any questions about the fire tower before we move on? I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sorry, I saw you twitching.
I was like, I'll get you at the end.
No, go ahead, let's do this part now, because I probably won't have answers to you.
And I understand that. I just want to vocalize them. Obviously, a lot of questions and concerns about this. I mean, something on the roof right now that's out of sight, out of mind, is not a big deal. It's not affecting anything. A 20 by 20 area right at the corner of the building, right on Brown Street, that changes the rules a little bit. So lots of questions like, why can't they do this 1 block away at Lee's Pond instead of at a middle school? It's a fair question. So if it's electrical, I know that they have electrical at Lee's Pond, but it's a question about whether or not it needs specific things that are already at Coelho. And if it is electrical related, will that be part of our budget, or will that be handled in some sort of way? I know that you wouldn't have that.
I have answers to that question, actually.
You do?
Yes. So I believe the issue to be largely electrical. There may be some coverage areas about Lee's Pond as well. But
there's power at Lee's Pond.
There is, but this takes a little bit more power than, like, at Lee's Pond, they plug in the lights for cheerleading practice and stuff.
Okay.
I think that
may
there's
be
a
fair. I don't know.
significantly greater power requirement for this piece of infrastructure. And I believe, and this is something we would have to talk to the fire department if they come out to, this is intended not to cost the schools any money.
Right, I just want to make sure that if it is pulling power, it's not being charged to our budget.
I mean,
And that's a fair
I
question.
assume they can build a 100-foot tower, they can put an electrical meter on it.
And I
But,
would
we'll
assume
have
they
to
could do
work
it over
those
at Lee's Pond just as well, but beyond that, just saying. I'll just say that I have other questions and concerns as well. It sounds like we aren't at that point yet, but when somebody does come before this committee, I hope they have those answers, is how I'll put it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Frappier?
Just one quick note. The Coelho Middle School is actually a few meters higher in elevation than Lee's Pond, so that's probably going to get the best radio. I mean, I wasn't in the meeting, but I'd have to assume they're going for the highest
You
point.
check
that's
the
sitting on-
elevation?
Yeah, it's a topographic map.
Look at you, all right.
Yeah, Google knows.
That was good. How much more?
3 meters?
Okay.
9 feet.
About 10.
So there are no more questions on the radio tower, okay. So next we evaluated our high priority projects. The most volatile one really is the Thatcher Chiller product. There is has been a dispute about the bids, and that hearing has been postponed a couple of times. My understanding, it's a largely administrative dispute, and there is a Zoom hearing on that tomorrow with the Attorney General's office, and because of that, we can't really begin the replacement work. It does take time to order a chiller of this magnitude. Assuming that this hearing goes the way that Mr. Furtado is anticipating it goes, or is hoping that it goes, we should be able to proceed and have the replacement chiller installed by mid-September. Unfortunately, that means we're on the hook for about another $50,000 to $60,000 in running the replacement chillers over the summertime, which are required to keep that building not just inhabitable over the summer, but inhabitable for the rest of the year. The amount of mold and stuff that would come in a building that's airtight like that, that's built without chilling, would be catastrophic. So there really is no alternative but to do that. The elementary access controls project is moving along as scheduled, and they're anticipating that that will be completed by the end of June. And the track resurfacing is imminent and is supposed to start next week. So that's all good news. We are working on the parking lot project. They are intending to do the parking at Thatcher and some of the parking at Hyman Fine. And they're going to add 6 to 8 spots at Studley using some sort of a stone dust surface. I'm imagining it's not like pebbles, but I don't really know much about that. But it's a sort of a surface that they can put in an area at Studley where it's acceptable to add a couple of spots along the way over there. And the purchase orders have been released for the carpeting projects at Hill Roberts, Hyman Fine, Studley, and Wamsutta over the summertime. So that's essentially was the heart of our meeting. We did talk about a potential performance contract, which would allow for chiller replacements at Brennan, Coelho, Hyman Fine, and Hill Roberts. The way those train contracts work is we put up a bond for the anticipated savings of the project, and if the project doesn't save the amount of energy that the bond that was anticipated, the company makes up the difference. So that's a sort of a no-risk bond for the city. They are putting together, we're exploring, contacting the MSBA for a $10 to $12 million statement of, for a statement of interest in what would be about a $10 to $12 million project for the roof replacements at Coelho and Hill Roberts. And they're waiting on a release of a $140,000 quote to replace the doors and entrances at Brennan and at Wamsutta. We spent a fair amount of time talking about the fireworks, which are a highly anticipated event here at the high school over the 4th of July. And one of the things that there are 2 areas of concern that I have. Number one, of course, is that no one wants the brand new school to suffer any damage from the fireworks. Obviously, neither does the Attleboro Fire Department nor anybody else associated with this. And we were assured that the launch spot, which is in that far field to the left of the school, I think it's like a soccer field, but I don't remember the name of it. That is the safest launch spot according to both the Attleboro Fire Department and the State Fire Marshal. The other area is that it's a brand-new track surface, and the intention is for the stadium to be open, both for seating and possibly for picnicking on the field. Mark and Jason are meeting with the surface installers tomorrow, and they're going to make sure that they don't have any concerns about the impact of potential foot traffic on a newly replaced track. Assuming that they say it's safe, we will be okay. If the possibilities could be, put some plywood down and try to get people to walk over the plywood to get out to the track, or if the installers feel that it's a real problem, we could even close the track for the event. No one really wants to do that. We'd like people to be able to use the facility. So the last thing that we did is we took a tour of just a couple of areas on the first floor of the high school. This has been 4 years that the high school's been open, and we wanted to see, areas that had been suffering with wear. And two of the highest traffic areas in the whole school are those cafeteria stairs and the area where the rug meets the floor when you first come in the school. And on one side of the cafeteria staircase, the nosing on the stairs has failed a little bit, and that's not under warranty. So we're going to replace that to make sure that nosing looks correct, and there's no place where it's unsafe to walk because some of it has fallen down. And the other spot is where the carpet tiles meets the floor. It's just an extremely high traffic area, and it's designed that way on purpose to keep wet shoes from stepping on the floor and slipping. That's just an area that we're going to, as part of normal preventative maintenance and upkeep, replace the carpet in that area, and do some painting in the music hallway. And I didn't ask for, I understand you have some fireworks questions, Mr. Storer.
You know me.
I'm 2 steps ahead of you.
Yeah. I got a couple if I can. So it seems like we have 2 grass fields that are being used, one for the launching of the fireworks and then other one as a stage.
The stage is going to be on that grass field, yeah.
Right. We don't have any concerns with our grass fields being used in this way?
Would be a Mark question.
Yeah.
I believe they said they were gonna water the fields. Didn't they say that?
Yeah, the fire
They gotta
department
water the
did
field
ask us
first.
to water the fields before the fireworks, which is good, and
All right, just worried about a big stage being put in the corner of our ball field and a launch spot as our other field. Parking would be the other one. So they're taking our 2 main parking lots and using them for activities and no parking.
so
I know we have the across the street,
I
but
mean, that
still,
belongs to the city, but I presume that that will be open.
I would presume, but even if you're taking away those 2 main parking lots, seems like parking could be a concern here, no?
Yeah, I would suggest arriving early.
I think my concern is a little bit bigger than personal. But, okay. Those are my main concerns from what I mean, axe throwing, okay, hey, we'll see how that goes.
I don't know, really.
It looks like
about
it's gonna be a
axe.
great time, I'll say that. I mean, it looks like they got everything going from almost way down at Brennan all the way to the stage over at the ball field and activities in the parking lot, so it looks like it's gonna be a
It
huge
is
thing.
cool, and because it's the 250th
Yeah.
anniversary of the country, they have a lot of sort of more things than they might normally do, so. I think I'll get to you, Mr. Chair. But I think that it's a good thing to have them here, although, we don't all love the idea of fireworks in a brand-new school. It's also good because the taxpayers of Attleboro are still paying for their investment in the school, and having them have an opportunity to use the grounds, even people who don't have kids, it's a small thing, and I think that it can be worked around.
I'll just say, as long as all safety steps are being put in.
Nobody wants to see the school burn down less than the
Understand.
Attleboro Fire Department.
I understand.
I guarantee you.
Yep, understand.
So a couple of things, just because we're making references to a map that the community can't see. So the stage area we're talking about is on the baseball field. That is, the concert area would be on the baseball field closest to Verndale Ave and Bushy Street entrance.
Right.
That parking lot will have no parking. The activities, Mr. Storrs, on the left where Brennan would be on this map, that's just a blown up view of the activities
confused me.
that would
I
happen
understand.
under the solar panels.
Got it, understand. It's not a great map.
Yeah.
Put it that
Parking would be available outside central office and outside the marketplace. I have to assume that the Brennan Middle School lot, the Studley lot, and to Mr. Bennett's point, the Highland lot will also be available. The launch spot will be the soccer/softball field alongside Sweet Forest. In the past, that has been over at the field in front of Brennan, but where that is an artificial turf field. I'm guessing that's they're moving it to a grass surface so as to not damage the turf field. And just because you mentioned watering, I think it's important to point out, when the fields were built, they were built with a natural irrigation system that rotates the water, so it's well water. It's not city-used water that's going to take away from the water supply. So those were just my
Thank you,
quick
Mr. Chair.
points.
Those are informative. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Next is an update from our Finance and Budget Subcommittee from their June 3rd meeting, and for that, I will turn it over to Subcommittee Chair Larson.
Thank you. We did meet. Ms. Perella took us through the monthly financials. At this time, there's no reason to suspect that we won't be finishing with a small surplus, which is always a very positive way to end the year. We have a number of housekeeping motions to bring forward. The first is motion to approve the 5th year of the Sodexo maintenance contract. Entertain that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, entertain a motion to approve the Whitson's Nutrition contract for the FY '27 year. And again, this is the 5th of a 5-year contract.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Next, again, another housekeeping, motion to approve the lease agreement with Canon for the production machine in the CTE Graphic Arts Department for the FY '27 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, motion to approve a lease agreement with Konica Minolta for the copy machines per the lease agreement for the FY '27 school year.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, motion to approve the lease agreement with Konica Minolta, for copying machines in order package S0064591 in the amount of $15,025.24.
So moved.
Second. Is there a question?
No, I thought you were repeating the previous motion.
So did I for a minute.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And lastly, this is more of a housekeeping, because it's been a practice right along, and we just realized we didn't have the documentation properly in place. We had some documentation, but not to everybody's best wishes, so this is basically just codifying an existing practice. So we entertain a motion to approve the 20% discount on abacus rate for the Attleboro School Department and City of Attleboro employees as laid out on the handout provided by Abacus.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Mr. Storrs?
So, yeah, what was provided has a 10%, 15%, 20. Is that just to show us what the difference would be?
Yes, and what we did is we just mirrored what is currently the practice.
So the practice is that our employees get 20% off, but our citizens do not.
Citizens do not. The city employees and the school department are paying roughly that column.
Okay.
That's why we mirror it that way.
Yep.
Mr. Bennett?
My only question is this is in line with what you've already budgeted? We've already budgeted for receipts from the Abacus program.
This mirrors the current practice.
This is current practice, so it's not jeopardizing any of the receipts that we
This is current practice, and what we're doing is we're just codifying in writing, basically for the auditor, to codify what
Fair enough.
happening.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. That's the extent of my report.
Thank you very much. Apologize, give me one moment. Next item on the agenda is open forum. Excuse me, want to make sure I get this accurate. This is a time when members of the public may address the school committee to provide updates, share information, or express concern on matters within the committee's jurisdiction. All speakers are encouraged to present their comments in a respectful manner. Open forum is not a time for committee members to engage in dialogue with members of the public. Guidelines for open forum are available to you. Please know that we are interested in what you have to say, but we cannot respond without background information. Each open forum participant will be given 3 minutes to address the committee. Please come forward to the podium to state your name and address for the record.
Joey Ford, 44 Smith Street, founder and leader at Parent Data Force. Fun fact, this is not actually a podium. This is called a lectern. A podium actually elevates the speaker off of the ground. I know clarity matters in the policy, so I think we should make it reflect this. I'm really disappointed in the decision and the vote today to reduce the school day structured learning time. I understand that we are still 50 hours above, even with the reduction compared to other districts around us, but given Attleboro's specific situation with special education and the service providers already being extremely overpacked and overburdened with their caseloads, reducing that 15 minutes per day is going to result in service gaps for like speech, language, physical therapy, occupational therapy, that sort of thing. So you should have had a public hearing about this. It also affects every single family that is part of this district. I'm going to reiterate, as I've asked before, I really believe we should have Zoom access for everybody in this community and beyond who wants to participate in these meetings and participate in open forum. Particularly, there's a lot of special education families that do not have the ability to get babysitting or whatever else to come here and participate. So just for equity, I really think we should do that. I put out a public records request a few months ago for all of the subcommittee recordings because they're not posted anywhere online, and it's been mentioned many times that the public is welcome to come to these subcommittee meetings and participate. So I have all those. I posted them on my website. I really think, well, the committee should be posting these online as they're being recorded so that the community can be informed. Part of my public records request into this, I received a whole bunch of these subcommittee recordings back for the policy subcommittee, and I received it up until beginning of December, and then January and beyond. It was missing a December 12th meeting, which was discussing policy BEDH-E1, which directly affects public comment. I requested them. I was happy to see that Rob suggested some changes. Unfortunately, the committee did ultimately vote to not include the ability for the committee members to ask questions to the public commenters, which is really disappointing. I also, I know there's been some changes to CPAC or ACEPAC. I was in pretty good communication with them before, and we were talking about how there were some staffing shortages in the Insights classroom. Just wondering if that's been resolved. It might be something for you guys to look into. There's also been reports out of Thatcher that there's been multiple restraints.
Mr. Chairman, that's 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the committee as part of open forum?
Jason Alford, Attleboro, Mass. Want to sort of bring up something. April, I believe it was April the 27th, our last school committee meeting we had here. You know, I know I can be critical of stuff, but I really enjoyed the time a lot of these school committee members had with us out in the hallway. It was really engaging. It was something that wasn't planned, and I think it kind of gave a two-way, you know, back and forth, and I really, really appreciate it. I know, Mr. Larson, you were, you know, not there that day. I wish you were, so we could have, you know, again, just kind of interacted with everybody, because I really felt it, you know, it definitely kind of lowered the, you know, at least feeling like of attention, like us versus them type of thing, and I really appreciate the time. I mean, I'm not going to get into who didn't stay there, but I really do think Mr. Geddes and Mr. Poor, you probably should have stayed and at least engaged with us, because that did stick out more than, and it didn't take anything away from the time everybody did give us, but it really resonated when you're looking at it going, well, who's the two people that just decided what's the quickest way out of here? I mean, we're trying to all work together, despite how people might interpret what's said up here. Again, I've said before, I don't care about tone policing. The fact is, what I have to say is what I have to say, and usually I'm bringing, well, I think 99% of the time I'm breaking facts and stuff that's happened to me. One of the things that did come out with some of these open, you know, public records requests is, you know, I'm hearing, like, you know, people are questioning whether or not some of the stuff is being brought up is valid or legit, or if it's a lie. And I find that concerning, because what I do during these public records requests, and despite what people think this isn't a hobby, I have better things to do, but it seems like we're more concerned with staff members and what's being brought to your attention. You know, if my son's vomiting because of this or that, or he's being held in a restraint room, we're not asking the staff if this is true. We're more coddling them. I mean, when we're coddling, I don't know, Miss Fernandez, I mean, I don't know, she's, you know, she's an adult. She's almost 60 years old. And we have to, like, placate to that, as opposed to saying, what's going on in that school? That is, again, it's sort of like, what are we doing here? Do you think I just came here on, you know, October 20th and just decided now to, I mean, I've been doing this since 2021. So it's like what I'm bringing to you and what other people are bringing up to you, it's the same story. We're not all together hanging out. These are different stories that are coming up. I mean, during that thing, ACEPAC a couple weeks ago, you know, there's different groups. Well, we're all in different groups, but yet you're hearing the same common denominator, or the same things. It's like, this isn't planned. So when is it that we're gonna actually be dealing with what's brought? Because I need to know, like, what is this school committee's jurisdiction? because there has to be somewhere where, the transparency and what's being brought is not looking like it's falling by the wayside. And that's how it looks, because we never know what's what's happened. It all looks like it's all falling on deaf ears. And I just bring that up because I think you want to lower the any type of tension or feel like it's this versus that. There needs to be a two-way street.
Mr. Chairman, that's 3 minutes.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Mr. Alford.
Truth is not harassment, it's protection. Thank
Is there
you.
anyone else that would like to address the committee as part of open forum? Please state your name and address.
Madison Tremblay, 93 Peters Ave. I'm not here only as a parent, but as an advocate for all children with intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities, mental health challenges, and behavioral needs. Too often, these students are misunderstood, marginalized, and treated as problems to be managed rather than children to be supported. Across our public school system, we frequently hear about inclusion, equity, supporting the whole child, yet for many families, the reality is very different. Children who struggle with emotional regulation, trauma, communication, or disability-related behaviors are often viewed through a lens of compliance instead of understanding. Their behaviors are documented and punished without getting to the root cause, or in my son's case, not documented until we voice concerns with the school's inaccuracies. Like many students with disabilities, his behavior does not exist in a vacuum. They are connected to his experiences, his needs, and his challenges, yet despite concerns regarding trauma and the significant impact it has had on his educational experience, there's been resistance to fully recognize that trauma within his educational planning. My son's neuropsychologist recommendations are currently being ignored, and a formal diagnosis of a trauma disorder did come about, and is currently being omitted during his IEP process because of having that on there would require the district to take accountability. As a parent, I find it deeply troubling that discussion about my son's needs can focus extensively on his behavior while minimizing or excluding information that helps explain his behavior. An IEP is supposed to present a complete picture of a child. It should not highlight only the struggles that are inconvenient for the system while omitting factors that may have contributed to those struggles. When trauma is ignored, children suffer. When disabilities are misunderstood, children suffer. When behavior becomes the focus instead of the child behind the behavior, children do suffer. The consequences are real. Students lose access to appropriate supports. Families lose trust in the system. Children begin to internalize a message that they are the problem rather than recognizing that they do need support. The issue extends far beyond my son. It affects countless families who are told that their concerns are exaggerated, whose observations are dismissed, or who are forced to fight for services that should never require a battle. Why are we still fighting with students? Why are we still seeing students with disabilities continuously subjected to restraints, removals from classrooms, and disproportionate disciplinary consequences? Why do we constantly have to prove to you what our child needs? We're supposed to be on the same team. The function of the school system is to serve all children regardless of varying needs. Children with autism, intellectual and emotional disabilities, trauma histories, and behavioral challenges deserve dignity, they deserve honesty, they deserve accurate educational records. Most importantly, they deserve adults who are willing to acknowledge the reality of their experiences, even when doing so is uncomfortable. My hope is that we can move towards a system that prioritizes transparency, accountability, compassion over defensiveness, a system where families are treated as partners rather than obstacles, a system where every child's needs are acknowledged, not selectively recognized, because at the end of the day, they are not just statistics, case numbers, or compliance documents. They are children, and they deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the committee as part of open forum? Seeing none, I will, I apologize. We have one
There's one
virtual.
online. We have Mr. Kerr. Should be available to speak.
Yeah, okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Good evening, Chairman Geddes and members of the board. At that December 12th meeting Mr. Ford mentioned, during the debate on changing the rules to allow youths to question speakers, one of you said, quote, "Your problem is, and I'm not saying names, but if a community member found out that we changed the rules, they could demand that we answer X, Y, and Z questions, and that would put X, Y, and Z board member in a bad spot. That's why you voted that change down, let's be honest. Yet in these exact same meetings, you have Chairman Geddes publicly stating that parents were making false allegations about educators and complained about the tone of people calling for the special education director's firing. You also told the public that your open forum guidelines ask that personal attacks about school community members not be made. This is hypocrisy. You want to publicly label parents' concerns as false and discourage us from speaking negatively about staff. but you're afraid to let us ask you the tough questions. This pattern creates a chilling effect on free speech. I would definitely ask the city solicitor to look that up. Under the First Amendment, criticizing government employees on matters of public concern is protected speech. When public officials use their position to label criticism as false, Rob, or discourage negative comments, it deters ordinary citizens from speaking out. That is unconstitutional retaliation. In Marshall versus Amuso, a federal court struck down a school board's public comment policy that restricted personally directed or abusive speech. The court ruled that such vague rules have a chilling effect on speech and allow viewpoint discrimination. Exactly what's happening here. A reasonable parent hearing these statements would think twice before speaking. That chilling effect needs to stop. The board must respect the First Amendment rights of the very community you serve. Also, when I asked my reasonable modification, I asked for all subcommittee meetings. You were directly in violation of the ADA by not making that subcommittee meeting viewable using the Zoom tool I'm using right now. Fix your problems or I will sue you in federal court tomorrow. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Kerr. That concludes open forum. For upcoming notable dates, this Wednesday, June 10th, at 5 p.m. is the Attleboro Technical Institute graduation happening at Attleboro High School in the cafeteria. As a reminder, this Friday, June 12th, is the last day of school for kindergartners across the district. Next Friday, June 19th, there is no school in honor of the Juneteenth holiday. The next school committee meeting will be on Monday, June 22nd. That will be here in the Zito conference room. And although they're past the next school committee meeting, just for the community as a reminder, Tuesday, June 23rd is the last day of school for pre-K, and Friday, June 26th is the last day of school for grades 1 through 12 plus. Any other updates from the committee? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned at 8:48. Thank you and have a great night.